Sometimes it just felt like, all right, I'm just another number. Like, throw the standard of care at me, whatever. Coming here, it felt like Dane was their only patient. And that meant so much to us. It felt like when we came in here that their sole focus was only on Dane, and they only wanted Dane to get better. We noticed after his graduation, while he was on patrol, he was having some double vision. So we had taken him to the eye doctor to get his prescription updated, and it just kept changing. And so after multiple times of changing his prescription, his doctor requested that he get an MRI. And rather than letting him go after his MRI, they kept him in the room and just told him, we wanted to let you know you're going to get a phone call tonight. So we knew kind of in that moment that something wasn't right. So they had called and said that there looked like something was there. They didn't know what it was, and that we needed to go to U of M and just go right to the emergency room. They'd have a bed waiting for him so that we could start seeing what was going on. So after we got the biopsy back, we did find out that it was DIPG, but typical DIPG has an H3 mutation, and Dane's actually came back with an IDH mutation. So a little bit better of a prognosis. When Dane was first diagnosed with just the standard DIPG, we were told 3 to 6 months. So right after that, he jumped into doing chemotherapy and then 6 weeks of radiation, 5 days a week. And then after that, it was kind of just, we'll see how things go. But we opted to do some other treatments after that. And when we had switched over to Northwestern in Chicago, they had said, hey, have you ever considered going in and getting a swallow study? Well, then we got here and I'm like, hey, your walking and your balance isn't horrible, but it's also not great. I'm like, why don't we check into PT and OT? And so we gave this a shot, and it ended up working out better than we could have ever even expected. Dane was really strong in his faith, but he would also say his goal was he wanted a family, and he just wanted, to have this happy life. And so I think motivation-wise, we had just gotten engaged when he first got diagnosed. So it was always all right, the next thing, I want to get married. So he'd push towards that. All right, I want to have a kid. So we'd push towards that. And then once we had Tatum, our daughter, things really changed. He's like, I want to live for her. I want to be in her life. I don't want her to grow up without a dad. What they did for us allowed Dane to walk and to interact with Tatum, our daughter, to be able to go on a family vacation, to be able to be independent at home. And that not only helped him feel better about himself and boosted his confidence, but it made it easier on me. And in that situation, for Dane anyways, he struggled a lot with I don't want to rely on anybody. I don't want you to have to sit here and feed me. I want to be able to stand up and go and use the bathroom on my own. I want to be able to sit on the floor and play with my kid. And so what they did for Dane just allowed him, even up until the day that he died, really be able to have some independence, and that meant so much to him.